Welcome back to the Rise Up podcast, where we not only help you improve your English, but also bring you the energy and motivation you need to power through life's toughest challenges. I'm your host, and today we're diving into an incredibly inspiring topic: pushing through when life knocks you down. We all face setbacks, but what separates those who rise up is the strength to keep going, one step at a time. This episode will share stories of resilience, self-discovery, and the power of perseverance when everything feels like it's falling apart. For those of you who need it, a PDF transcript of this episode is available to help you follow along. You can download it through the link in the show notes. Let's get started. Good morning, everyone. I'm really excited to be here today and share a bit of my story with you. Life can be tough sometimes, right? We've all been through those moments where it feels like nothing is going our way. I know I have. But, it's during those moments that we find out what we're really made of. A few years ago, I hit rock bottom, financially, emotionally, and mentally. I was drained. My wife and I had a failing business, and every step we took seemed to push us further into the ground. Moving to a new city didn't help much either. It was like everything familiar had been stripped away, leaving us in a place that didn't feel like home. We didn't know anyone there, and we were starting over from scratch. It was overwhelming. You see, it's easy to feel lost when life is throwing you curveballs. It's easy to get caught up in the failures and the mistakes. I used to lie awake at night, wondering if I was good enough, if I could make it. But that's when I learned something important. You don't have to have all the answers. You just need to take one more step forward, one more, and then another. I'll be honest with you. There were days when I wanted to quit. I'd see my restaurant empty, bills piling up, and my family struggling, and I'd feel like I was failing them. But what kept me going was this belief, deep down, that if I just kept pushing, if I just held on for one more day, things could change. And that's the thing. Life doesn't turn around in an instant. It happens gradually, one small victory at a time. I remember one of the lowest points for me. I was sitting outside my restaurant, staring at the empty tables, and two people walked by. One of them said, "Should we grab something here?" And the other person replied loudly, "No way, this place is awful." The words hit me like a punch in the gut. It echoed in my mind, and for a moment I felt completely defeated. But you know what? That wasn't the end of my story. I made a decision that day. Instead of letting those words define me, I was going to prove them wrong. I started learning everything I could about running a business, about cooking, about customer service. I watched videos, read books, and went to workshops. I was on a mission to turn things around. Slowly, things got better. The restaurant started to attract more customers, and bit by bit, we began to recover. But it wasn't just the business that changed, it was me. I realized that the struggle wasn't just about making money or keeping the doors open. It was about rediscovering who I was, about finding that spark inside me that refused to give up. Now, I want to talk to you about something important: self-love. We spend so much of our lives trying to meet the expectations of others. We want to be good parents, good partners, successful in our careers. But when was the last time you looked at yourself and said, "I love who I am"? It took me a long time to realize that the most important day in my life wasn't the day I opened my restaurant or the day I made my first sale. It was the day I was born. That was the day when people loved me for just being me. And that's something we all need to remember. We are worthy just as we are. Life is going to knock you down. That's a given. But here's the truth. No matter how far you fall, there's always a way back up. Even when it feels like you've hit rock bottom, like there's no hope left, you can still take that one step forward. And that one step, it's all it takes to start a new chapter. I won't pretend like I have all the answers, but I do know this: you're stronger than you think. If I can climb out of the mess I was in, so can you. No matter how hard it gets, don't give up on yourself. Because at the end of the day, you are your greatest asset. You are your best hope. So here's my message to you. When life knocks you down, stand back up. When you feel like you can't go on, take one more step. And when you look in the mirror, remind yourself that you are enough, just as you are. As I look back on everything, there's one thing I've come to understand deeply. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a part of it. You can't expect to reach your goals without stumbling along the way. The setbacks, the missteps, and even the complete breakdowns, they're all part of the journey. In fact, they teach us more than any victory ever could. I used to think that success was this clear, straight line, where every decision would lead to a better result. But that's not real life, is it? Real life is messy. It's full of unexpected twists and turns, and more often than not, things don't go the way you planned. But the people who succeed are the ones who keep going, who see failure not as a dead end, but as a stepping stone. I remember sitting down with my wife one evening, both of us exhausted and wondering if we'd ever make it. The bills were piling up, our business was struggling, and our kids were watching us with eyes that deserved so much more than we were giving them. But in that moment, instead of dwelling on everything that had gone wrong, we made a decision. We were going to keep moving forward. Not for ourselves, but for our family, for our future, for the life we dreamed of living. And that's what I want to emphasize today. Your why matters. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you get up in the morning, even when it feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders? For me, it was my family. It was wanting to provide a life where my kids could feel safe and loved, where they didn't have to worry about whether or not we'd make it to the next paycheck. Your why might be different, but whatever it is, hold on to it. Let it be your anchor during the storms. There were so many times when it felt like giving up would have been easier. And maybe it would have been, in the short term. But every time you give up, you lose a little bit of that fire inside you. Every time you stop trying, you move further away from the person you're meant to be. And believe me, there is nothing more painful than looking back and wondering what could have been if you had just held on a little longer. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Pushing through when life feels unbearable takes guts. It takes determination, grit, and a belief in yourself, even when that belief feels shaky. But what I've learned, and what I want you to understand, is that the hard times don't last forever. They're temporary, even when they feel permanent. There's something incredibly powerful that happens when you push past your breaking point. You come out on the other side stronger, more resilient, and with a sense of pride that can never be taken from you. It's like building a muscle. The more you push through adversity, the stronger you get. You start to realize that you're capable of so much more than you ever gave yourself credit for. I also want to touch on something that we don't talk about enough. It's okay to ask for help. For a long time, I thought I had to do everything on my own. I thought that asking for help meant I was weak, or that I wasn't good enough to figure things out myself. But that's not true. In fact, some of the best moments of my life came when I reached out and allowed others to support me. Whether it was a mentor giving me advice, a friend lending a hand, or my wife standing by my side, I learned that we don't have to face the toughest battles alone. We're human. We need each other. And there is strength in admitting when we need help. So if you're in a place right now where things feel overwhelming, where you're not sure if you can take another step, I want you to remember two things. First, you are not alone. There are people out there who care about you and want to see you succeed. Don't be afraid to lean on them. Second, you have the power to change your story. It doesn't matter how many times you've failed or how far you've fallen. Every new day is a chance to rewrite your future. The truth is, none of us are perfect. We all have flaws, we all make mistakes, and we all face challenges that feel insurmountable at times. But those imperfections and struggles are what make us human. They're what give us the capacity to grow, to learn, and to become better versions of ourselves. I want you to leave here today knowing that you're capable of more than you think. You've got what it takes to overcome whatever life throws at you. The path might not be easy, and it might take longer than you hoped, but you're on your way. Keep pushing, keep believing in yourself, and most importantly, don't ever give up. Because here's the thing, the best is yet to come. As I stand here today, I want to ask you something. What if everything you've been through was preparing you for something greater? What if all the pain, the struggles, the sleepless nights, and the moments of doubt were shaping you into the person you're meant to become? That's a thought that kept me going through my darkest times. You see, we often look at hardships and think they're setbacks. But what if they're actually the building blocks of our future success? Every time I failed, every time I thought I couldn't go on, I was learning. I didn't realize it at the time, but each obstacle was teaching me something valuable about myself, about resilience, about what it takes to achieve something worthwhile. Think about the strongest people you know. I guarantee you, they didn't become strong by living an easy life. They became strong because they faced challenges head-on and found a way to rise above them. They didn't let the hard times break them. Instead, they used those moments as fuel to push forward. And that's exactly what you can do too. One of the biggest lessons I've learned on this journey is that you don't have to be perfect to make progress. I used to believe that I had to have everything figured out before I could move forward. I thought that success meant never making mistakes, never feeling insecure, and never struggling. But that's not true. Success isn't about perfection. It's about showing up, doing the best you can, and continuing to move forward, even when it feels like you're not getting anywhere. Let me tell you about a moment that changed my perspective. There was a time when my business had started to pick up, but things were still far from perfect. I was juggling a million things: family, work, finances, and it felt like I was barely keeping my head above water. One day, a mentor of mine sat me down and said, "You're trying so hard to be everything to everyone, but you're forgetting the most important person, yourself." That hit me hard. I realized I was so focused on the grind, on making everything work, that I wasn't taking care of myself. And let me tell you, if you don't take care of yourself, you won't be able to take care of anyone else. You can't pour from an empty cup. That's why I want to remind you today. Self-care isn't selfish, it's necessary. You are your greatest resource. If you don't invest in yourself, physically, mentally, and emotionally, everything else will eventually crumble. So take a moment right now and ask yourself, what do you need? What can you do today to nurture yourself, to recharge, to show yourself some compassion? Maybe it's taking a break, maybe it's reconnecting with something you love, or maybe it's simply giving yourself permission to rest. Whatever it is, don't put it off. You deserve it, and you need it. Another thing I've come to realize is that gratitude changes everything. When life is tough, it's easy to focus on what's going wrong. We get so caught up in our struggles that we forget to see the good that's still around us. But gratitude, it shifts your perspective. It allows you to see the small victories, the things that are still going right, even in the midst of chaos. When I was going through my hardest times, I started keeping a gratitude journal. Every night, before I went to bed, I wrote down 3 things I was grateful for that day. Some days, it was hard to think of anything. But even on the worst days, I could always find something: a kind word from a friend, a moment of peace, the fact that I had made it through another day. Over time, this simple practice helped me see that, no matter how difficult things got, there was always something to be thankful for. Gratitude doesn't make your problems disappear, but it does give you the strength to face them with a clearer mind and a fuller heart. It reminds you that even in your lowest moments, you are still blessed in ways that matter. As we wrap up today, I want to leave you with one final thought. You are capable of so much more than you realize. I know it might not feel that way when you're in the thick of it. When everything seems to be falling apart, it's easy to doubt yourself. But I promise you, inside each of you is a well of strength that you haven't even tapped into yet. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to discover just how strong you are. It's a chance to prove to yourself that you can handle whatever life throws at you. And believe me, you can. The road ahead might not be easy, but you've already come this far. You've survived 100% of your worst days. So keep going, keep pushing, keep believing that brighter days are coming, because they are. So the next time you're tempted to give up, I want you to remember this. Your story isn't over yet. There's still so much more to come. The struggles you face today are setting the stage for the triumphs you'll experience tomorrow. You're not just surviving, you're becoming. You're growing into the person you're meant to be. And that person? They're incredible. Learning vocabulary is key to mastering any language, especially when it comes to understanding everyday phrases and expressions. In the following list, I've selected 15 useful American English words, phrases, and idioms that were featured in the 3 motivational speeches above. These phrases are commonly used in daily conversations and can help you sound more natural and fluent. Each entry includes its meaning and an example sentence to show you how it's used in context. Let's dive in. Hit rock bottom, meaning to reach the lowest point in life or in a situation. Example, after losing his job and his house, he felt like he had hit rock bottom. Once again, hit rock bottom, meaning to reach the lowest point in life or in a situation. Example, after losing his job and his house, he felt like he had hit rock bottom. Stepping stone, meaning an event or experience that helps you progress toward a goal. Example, losing that job was a stepping stone to finding my true passion. Once again, stepping stone, meaning an event or experience that helps you progress toward a goal. Example, losing that job was a stepping stone to finding my true passion. Keep your head above water, meaning to just manage to survive or stay in control in a difficult situation. Example, with all the bills to pay, I'm barely keeping my head above water. Once again, keep your head above water, meaning to just manage to survive or stay in control in a difficult situation. Example, with all the bills to pay, I'm barely keeping my head above water. Pour from an empty cup, meaning you can't help others if you're not taking care of yourself first. Example, remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. Take care of your own health before trying to help everyone else. Once again, pour from an empty cup, meaning you can't help others if you're not taking care of yourself first. Example, remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. Take care of your own health before trying to help everyone else. Push past your breaking point, meaning to go beyond the point where you think you can't handle any more pressure. Example, she pushed past her breaking point and completed the marathon, even though she wanted to give up. Once again, push past your breaking point, meaning to go beyond the point where you think you can't handle any more pressure. Example, she pushed past her breaking point and completed the marathon, even though she wanted to give up. Show up, meaning to appear or be present, especially when it's important. Example, success isn't about being perfect, it's about showing up every day and doing your best. Once again, show up, meaning to appear or be present, especially when it's important. Example, success isn't about being perfect, it's about showing up every day and doing your best. Take one more step forward, meaning to continue trying or moving forward even when things are tough. Example, no matter how hard it gets, just take one more step forward and trust that things will get better. Once again, take one more step forward, meaning to continue trying or moving forward even when things are tough. Example, no matter how hard it gets, just take one more step forward and trust that things will get better. Hold on, meaning to stay strong and not give up during difficult times. Example, when everything seems to be falling apart, sometimes the best thing you can do is hold on. Once again, hold on, meaning to stay strong and not give up during difficult times. Example, when everything seems to be falling apart, sometimes the best thing you can do is hold on. Bounce back, meaning to recover from a difficult situation or setback. Example, after failing the exam, she studied even harder and bounced back with a better grade. Once again, bounce back, meaning to recover from a difficult situation or setback. Example, after failing the exam, she studied even harder and bounced back with a better grade. Keep pushing, meaning to continue to work hard and move forward, even when it's challenging. Example, even when it feels like you're getting nowhere, keep pushing. You're closer than you think. Once again, keep pushing, meaning to continue to work hard and move forward, even when it's challenging. Example, even when it feels like you're getting nowhere, keep pushing. You're closer than you think. Self-care isn't selfish, meaning taking care of your own needs is necessary, not selfish. Example, don't forget that self-care isn't selfish. You need to take time for yourself to recharge. Once again, self-care isn't selfish, meaning taking care of your own needs is necessary, not selfish. Example, don't forget that self-care isn't selfish. You need to take time for yourself to recharge. Take a moment, meaning to pause and reflect or to do something carefully. Example, before you rush into the next task, take a moment to appreciate how far you've come. Once again, take a moment, meaning to pause and reflect or to do something carefully. Example, before you rush into the next task, take a moment to appreciate how far you've come. The weight of the world on your shoulders, meaning feeling overwhelmed with responsibilities or problems. Example, after his promotion, he felt like he had the weight of the world on his shoulders with all the new tasks. Once again, the weight of the world on your shoulders, meaning feeling overwhelmed with responsibilities or problems. Example, after his promotion, he felt like he had the weight of the world on his shoulders with all the new tasks. Brighter days are coming, meaning a phrase of encouragement, meaning better times are ahead. Example, I know things are tough right now, but hang in there. Brighter days are coming. Once again, brighter days are coming, meaning a phrase of encouragement, meaning better times are ahead. Example, I know things are tough right now, but hang in there. Brighter days are coming. The best is yet to come, meaning the future will be better than the present or past. Example, don't worry about your current struggles. The best is yet to come. Once again, the best is yet to come, meaning the future will be better than the present or past. Example, don't worry about your current struggles. The best is yet to come. That wraps up today's episode of the Rise Up podcast. Remember, no matter how tough things get, you always have the power to push through. Every small step forward counts, and with persistence and self-care, you can bounce back from anything life throws your way. If you'd like to revisit today's content or need help following along, don't forget to check out the PDF transcript we've prepared for you. It's right in the show notes. Thank you for tuning in, and keep rising up. Until next time, stay strong and keep moving forward.